Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Spirit Journey. Today, I think it's Friday. Today is January 2023, and it's about 1:19 a.m. Wow. Boy, this year's going fast. This year is going fast already. How you all doing? Yes, it's beautiful this time of day. Yeah, I actually went to bed very early last night. I just felt tired, had gone out, got got back home, and I made a special meal. Yeah, I made this stew. I was inspired by this African dishes from Trinidad. Yeah, this YouTuber visits different countries, and he featured last year the island of Trinidad, and then he did his Tobago, and I watched the Tobago, and I also rewatched the one from Trinidad. I, in particular, love Trinidadian, well, actually, what they call Indo-Caribbean food. People were like from India who moved to the Caribbean, Trinidad in particular. I love their food and drinks. And I was watching how they were stirring. They used these big pots and stirred it up. And I remember they cut up these onion, these seasonings, and then they add that coconut milk. And I said to myself, I am going to get some coconut milk. Well, oh, of course, they used fresh coconut and made the coconut milk. Yes, they did. But I didn't do that. I bought the can. But maybe I'll do that. Get the fresh coconut. Those time restraints. Yeah, I had to go out yesterday. I had to walk the dogs. And I said, I need some food for the house. I said, I want to make that. Yeah, I love stewy type of food, that you cook in a big pot. I particularly like that. Well, you wonder, well, why am I talking about that? Everything's connected to everything else. What you do, what your interests are. And I entitled this video, Are You a Sentinel? Are You a Sentinel? And it's about, your life's path, your destiny. And that's what I want to talk about, but I'll be talking about it through other things. Yes, good morning, viewer, good morning. How are you doing? Yes, thank you for coming on. So yeah, I want to talk about, are you a sentinel? I did look up the term. There was a movie called The Sentinel. Came out in the 1970s. I was a young child at the time, a teenager, a young teen, I think. Yeah, it came on television. It was a movie. And last year it came to my remembrance. It came to my memory last year. Early, I think during the summer of last year, 2022. And I was asking myself, am I a sentinel? Am I a sentinel? And so what I decided to do, inspired by that movie, The Sentinel, I rearranged my room. I have my bed now facing the window. So, hey, now you can see the beautiful Manhattan skyline here, what you're looking at right now. Hope you guys can hear me. Please let me know if you can hear me clearly. I have on my mic with the earphones. Please let me know. You could put a 1 for yes that you can hear clearly, or do I need to speak up louder? Please let me know. Yeah, just check to make sure it's plugged in all the way. Yes, I've had those moments. You think it's recording the audio and it's not. That's happened to me. Well, anyway, let me get going. Let me continue. Well, yeah, I thought about that movie last year, The Sentinel, and again, I was a young child at I think in my early teens, and what I remember about the movie was that at the end of the movie, at the end of the movie, the person um, had like a helper. And I remember that the person, there was someone else sitting by the window. There was someone else sitting by the window, an elderly man it was. And the powers helped the guy out of his chair. And then they put in the new sentinel in his place. Now, what's interesting about the Sentinel in that movie, they were blind. Now, why would you put someone who's blind with cataract? Yeah, they had advanced cataract in the eye when it turns white. Sit at the window looking outside. And now a sentinel is like a watcher. Now, why would you have someone watching on your behalf who's blind? But what's coming to my awareness right now as we speak, see, a lot of times when I'm doing these videos, um, I'm not just speaking to you, I'm speaking to myself as well. And I'm looking out the window. Thank God I don't have cataract. But it's coming to my mind right now, my awareness. See, sometimes you might speak on a matter. You may speak on a matter. And it's the awareness, like you might know instinctively there's something there, but you may not have words for it or even understanding. But then as you're speaking it out, the understanding comes. And as I'm talking to you right now, you know, see, sometimes when people have 20/20 vision, they are blind to a lot of stuff. They are blind to a lot of stuff. See, they think they see, but they really cannot. They're being deceived by what they see. What you see is the illusion, the distraction. That's the word, the distraction from really seeing. And in the movie The Sentinel, that cataract, because they weren't relying on their 20/20 vision, but their spiritual senses, the third eye, as it's called, the third eye. And they were placed there because what was required of them, not their 20/20 vision, their flesh, but their third eye. Wow, boy, 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 I just needed to say that, boy. Has your life been filled with 2020 vision, but somehow you keep on stumbling through life. You stumble through everything. And again, with that movie, The Sentinel, this was an ordinary woman of her day, the character in the movie. But you know, in her past, something had happened to her. Yet something happened to her in her early days. And that was to mark her, actually. She got marked early in life from something that had happened to her. And she ultimately did what she did. But that was a long time ago, you know. And then now she's an adult at her prime, has a boyfriend, moves into a wonderful apartment. And she was to meet people. Boy, did she meet people in that apartment. Some of them very nurturing, and some of them, oh my God, are you a sentinel? She didn't know what she was. She just thought she was just an ordinary girl at her prime. And she moved into a really nice place. And she met all these different characters in that building. And it turned out at the end of the movie that a lot of those people she met weren't even real. They weren't real. But she was living a life, and she thought the characters she was meeting were real. And then some things started happening and shaking in her life. I don't think people believed her. Yeah, she had a boyfriend. I think he was going to marry her and everything. Wow, I'm just thinking, you know, as I'm talking to you, I'm seeing things even in this building. I gotta share. Um, you know, I've been in this building they'll be going on 20 years shortly. And yes, I've met characters in this building. And you know, I'm glad I did not see it, but I was told about it. There were people that jumped, well, I shouldn't say people, an individual that jumped from this building. They're 2 floors above me and one over. Horrible, huh? You know, in that movie, The Sentinel, it happened to that person too. Wow. Boy, I'm just thinking out loud, really. I'm thinking out loud as I talk to you guys, seeing parallels. Are you a sentinel? Are things happening in your life that doesn't make any sense, makes no sense whatsoever? But are you a sentinel in this matter? Yeah, there might be parallels in your lives too. You, you know, you're trying to fit in. You're trying to follow along like everybody else so you won't make waves. But you know, are you really a sentinel? And no matter what you do, you just don't really fit in. And you watch the movie The Sentinel yourself. And you say, hey, did that happen to me? Certain elements of that movie. And again, at the very end of the movie, I mean, here she has this life, which was very positive, and then she started meeting these characters, and then ultimately, she, it turned out, was the next sentinel in line. Wow. Yeah, at the very end of the movie, do they show this? See, people been watching her for a while. She didn't know about it. Do you ask yourself that question? Are people watching you? I'm not trying to sound creepy or anything like that. Do you think maybe people, your life is being observed by higher ups? Because you may have a purpose in line. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Yeah, you may be next online and you may not even know that. Hey, Cam Cam. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you can hear me. Is the audio okay? Cam Cam. Yeah, please put a one for yes if you hear the audio okay. Or if it needs to be louder. Please let me know. I appreciate you, Cam Cam. Yeah, so are you a sentinel? Are you the next sentinel in line? Yeah, I mean, it's a movie that came out in the 1970s. Oh, great, great. Thank you, Cam Cam. I got your message. Yes, you can hear. Great. Yeah, it's an old video. It came out in the 1970s. And yeah, thank you. That sounds good. Thank you. Um, yeah, it's an old movie. It might seem kind of outdated, you know, how they dress and everything. And there's a particular part of the movie that was, I thought, inappropriate. Um, I had no, I, yeah, they must have edited that out you know, when it came on television. Yeah, it was a movie in the movie theater, but I saw when it came out on television in the 1970s. Yeah, they edited that part out. Um, and I watched the movie last year at, you know, here, you know, in this place, because the movie came to my memory. That last, it was actually the last scene of the movie when the protagonist in the movie, a young woman who was going through stuff, and it was a spiritual a spiritual challenge for her, a trial that she was to be under, and she was selected and they she was brought into some house, and you know the old house that was there, they demolished it actually, and then they put in a new building, and this new building was to have her in it, and she was being used as the new sentinel. Okay, Kemp said, what part was edited out? The sound. Oh, the sound went blank for a minute. Oh, well, it was. Well, I feel. Yeah, I feel kind of awkward to say what was edited out. Well, there was a something of a sexual nature. Let me put it like that. That was put in the movie. Yeah, and things like that you cannot put in them on television. Yeah, it was something of a sexual nature um, that 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 was taken out when it came out on television. But when I downloaded the movie, you know, on iTunes, um, again, I didn't know about that, and they, you know, it just took away from the movie. It was just inappropriate, in my opinion. But it was, you know, that was just what I call Hollywood. Sometimes Hollywood puts things in the movies, you know, things for you to watch for your reaction. It doesn't add to the content, but it adds to Hollywood. I just put it like that. But those of you who, um, yeah, you can like when that thing happens in that movie, you could just fast forward it. But the movie The Sentinel, I mean, It came out in the 1970s. But when I watched it last year as an adult, I just felt compelled to watch it. I wanted to see the part in the movie when she became the new sentinel. And a sentinel is like a watcher. They are to watch from their towers for something to come. And the lady in the movie, she played like a cat. It involved the Catholic Church. Okay, I'm not a Catholic, but it was just I started. It's just something that touched that said watch that movie. I just needed to see the part of the movie, and it turned out to be the very end of the movie. Yeah, okay, okay. I'm glad you understand what I'm getting at, Cam, about movies. Yeah, and these movies, Hollywood. See, Hollywood is made with those, some people might call them draconians, demons, whatever you want to call them, evil beings. And they feed off of that type of energy. When you see something like that, of that nature, and again, it's the silver screen, and silver is a conductor of electricity, and your thoughts are energy. Energy is energy, but particular energy they feed off of fear, anger, anxiety, sexual energy. They feed off of it, and that's why Hollywood puts it in there. It's like a cheap shot. It's like, let's say you're getting your a photo done of you, let's say a class photo, and then someone puts their hand in the picture. It's about feeding themselves. It's a distracted, and the distraction is for their benefit, not yours. But anyway, I just feel compelled because I remember in the commercials, like when they have a movie that is to come out, they show previews of that movie. They show previews, and you they usually just show the best parts of that movie so that you want to see the whole movie. And that was what I remember in the preview when it came on TV. And that was the part that I felt I needed to see because do you ever feel like in your life that you go through things and you don't understand why? And then maybe some things even in Hollywood might tell you some of the secrets. Yeah, Hollywood tells you some of the secrets. Are you the sentinel? Are you a watcher? And when that thought came to my mind last year, I decided to rearrange my room so that my view when I sit up in bed could see the window. And so now you're able to see me look out the window. We're in this view. Yeah. And also, see, I love looking out the window. People like living in certain buildings so they have a view outside. Why would you want to, if you have a window, don't you want to look outside the window and see your view? But you notice people put their beds perpendicular to the window. I mean, hi, so like yeah. So rather than facing the window, you're facing um, 90 degrees another direction, and that doesn't make any sense to me. You pay all this money for a view, and you're not going to have your bed looking out the window. Yeah, this is a beautiful view, but most people have their beds facing perpendicular. You're not even looking at it. You're facing away. You're looking at a right. You're looking at a wall. You're looking at a blank wall. So I said to myself, see, I love looking out the window. And so for me to look out the window, I have to turn my head 90 degrees and look out the window. But I was getting severe. I suffer from neck aches. Yeah. And it was hurting me so badly. I say, hey, um, common sense is saying, if you hold your neck to look out the window from your bed, going to hurt you, why don't you just move your bed? Hello, people. Hello, people. Is your life telling you common sense, trying to teach you common sense and say, hey, if this is causing you pain, why don't you move? Why don't you move it? So I said to myself, I'm going to move my bed. So I turned my bed around. I didn't know whether it would fit in this direction, but it did. And I love it. So when I sit up, I could just look out the window. And you could be missing something if you don't do this, people. I saw, it was either this year or like the last 2 weeks of last year. And when I was looking out the window, I saw a falling star or meteorite. I saw, wow, yeah. It was my first time ever seeing something like that. It's real bright, and I saw it. Yeah, there are things up in the sky that you will miss if you don't have your bed or your couch facing the window. I encourage you all, if you have the power to do so, to rearrange your room so you can look out the window because it's out there that would teach you things. You can see things that you would miss otherwise. So anyway, going back to this movie, The Sentinel, and I'm not going to just talk about The Sentinel, but that it's a part of what I'm talking about. Are you the Sentinel? And that some things, sometimes people's lives are designed. You may think you're the designer of your life, but you are not. Yeah, I'm just like battling that idea. And I start looking back. Yeah, earlier today, yeah, I hate to sound like I'm going all over the place, but it's all related, people, what I'm talking about. When I woke up this morning, I went to bed real early and then also wake up early. That's why I was able to do this video. But this YouTuber that I watch, he gave his little testimony. He made the $100,000 100,000 subscriber marker. Yeah. And he deserves it. He works very hard. And like the last week actually, his work is getting really, really even more interesting. I learned of his channel maybe 10 months ago through someone indirectly. Like I have viewers who send me things to watch or to notify me on certain things. And when I went to look, like some of these links are on another platform that I never even heard of. And that after I watched the referred video, it had like a series of other videos attached, associated with it. Wow, my battery's getting low. I have to put the plug in my battery. I mean, the plug in my thing. Wow. Yeah, I have to. Okay, I have to pull out this plug. Oh, my batteries are low. I have to take out the mic. Hold on. I hope you guys can still hear me. Hope you can still hear me. I have to put the plug in. I might have to turn it around. Let's see how I'm going to do this now. Okay, I had to turn it on. Just a moment. I have to put this plug in. Okay. Sorry about that, people. Yeah, let me know if you can still hear me. Yeah, I had to rearrange something there. The the batteries were getting low, but I have to still put my mouth close to the mic, the other mic. Yeah, I had the headphones. I had the built-in mic, but now I have to use the other mic. Sorry about that. Yeah. So this YouTuber I've been watching, his name is Franchot Pearson, and yeah, I've been watching him now for maybe 10 months. And again, I was referred to his video indirectly through somebody else who doesn't even watch him at all. But one of the videos that was referred to me by this person um, had other videos, and somehow that I saw it and I clicked on it, and I thought the work was fantastic. But either way, with regard to him, um, like he gave his testimony, he shared a little bit more about himself, and that's what led me to do this live stream about, like he talked about how his beginnings were very modest and something that he was trying to do. You know, he did radio, it turned out, and he's a natural speaker, but he wasn't always a speaker. He had a stuttering problem. He was a skinny kid from Chicago, um, and by happenstance, he was working at a company. He didn't disclose what type of company it was. Sorry. Sorry, still trying to stay comfortable, get comfortable here. Yeah, but it was by chance. It was by chance, though, this person had, on this job, like, he was doing very well, but he had enemies. He had enemies. And he kept his life quiet, though. And it was a chance meeting, an influential woman. And this woman was essential. I mean, the man had all the talent, but sometimes people need an encourager, someone to say, hey, you seem, you're pretty good at such and such. You should try doing this. What the person didn't know was that in his youth, he used to do a particular work. Yeah, he used to write for his school newspaper and other things. And this person didn't know it. So, like, he was working in it, and he would write about things before his time, about the New World Order. And he showed an article he wrote in 1978, and it was before his time. And they didn't want him to write this stuff. And so I think something might have happened. I mean, something happened for him to stop writing, and he just went along with his life. But when he met up with this individual on his job, not knowing his background, but she was curious about him, and says, you should, you're pretty talented, and you should try such and such. You should try writing. And she didn't know about his writing ability, but she just felt that he would be good at it. And well, this person was essential in a way because she said you should speak to so and so. And she talked about it for months, he said. He talked about it, I mean, she talked about it 2 months to him, I meant to say. And then finally, he does get to speak to that person. And this person has a program, like a channel. And I think that really catapulted his initiation, so to speak. People get initiated. People get initiated. All these things, these things that happen in your life. You might think you're going through something, you're doing this, doing that, and no one's noticing. You have a desire to do something, but you're not really sure exactly, but you want to try this or that. Some things are a a preparation for you. Some things that you're required to do in life that seems mundane is to prepare you for something. And definitely this YouTuber. I never heard of certain things. I mean, I've heard of like numerology. I mean, I've heard of that, and I tried. It's called gematria. Gematria. I mean, every letter, like the letters of the alphabet, like the letter A is number one, B is two, C is three, etc., etc. And you could, let's say, take somebody's name, or let's say it's the name of a city, or an event, and you do the gematria, the numbers. Every letter has a number assigned to it. And certain numbers have, they represent certain events. I mean, certain types of things. And I'm no expert on numbers, please. But they're patterns. That's what I'm getting at. There's patterns. And things that happen in your life, maybe there's a pattern assigned to what's happening to you. And this guy, Franchise Pearson, I mean, he started out, lonely. I don't mean to say lonely, but he would spend time in the library studying. Or in your life, do you feel like you have to study? You've been studying, you're doing things behind the scenes, and you wonder why I'm doing this. Why are you doing this? Well, maybe you're in preparation, people. Maybe you're in preparation for something bigger. And so again, he's sharing this guy. He talked about gematria, and he's teaching about what he calls codes, clues, colors, confirmation of time, and conclusions. I mean, that's his word. That's his thing that he talks about, not me. That's what he teaches. And I thought it was amazing. And so when I saw his first video about 10 months ago, I said, wow, I gotta watch this fellow. I mean, he is a religious man. I'm not into his religion. I'm interested in the codes. See, there's religion. And in my opinion, well, whatever religion serves you, you serve it. I did come out from religion, but I see that there's things beyond religion. That thing that no matter where you live on this planet applies to your life. See, there's things that are universal, and numbers and codes and symbols is universal, or I should say, are universal. They're universal codes, they're universal languages. That's what I'm interested in. And so when I watched his video today, he made the 100,000 subscriber marker yesterday. Yeah, when I got up yesterday morning, I saw that. I said, "Wow!" He jumped from one thing to I mean, really like boom. And I said yesterday morning, I said, I know you're gonna make it. Yesterday, you just got a few more. You'll make it by the end by today. And yeah, he made it all right. So I wrote him this morning, comment on his video. I said, hey, maybe 1 million marker, that you'll get. The sky's the limit. Yeah. Um. So why I share that with you this morning? What does that have to do with me? Well, when I was watching, I've been watching him now for about 10 months, and I can see. I'm fascinated with the metaphysical aspects of the topics, with the codes and the numbers. I'm fascinated at it. I'm not a numbers person at all. In fact, I don't like numbers. But how he presents it, you can see it. I'm a visual person. So he actually shows the relationship between numbers, and I find it fascinating. And I start and then he shared his testimony. And I said, wow. So I thought to myself that, have any of you ever done something and you've done everything and somehow things get sabotaged, things get distorted, or you're attacked? Well, you have forces out there that know your potential. They know your potential, and they don't want you to get where you're supposed to be going. That there is a marker for you. There is a path and direction for you, and others could see it. See, everything is energetic. Everything is energy, and energy could be felt. And some people who are sensitive, anybody could some people could see your energy or feel your energy, and they don't like it. And their job, whether they know it or not, might be to try to sabotage you, confuse you, get you fired. And I was just amazed at his testimony. See, he never shared certain things. But it got me thinking. Some of us may be individuals who have a path that is assigned for you. And they're all different assignments. Some big, some small. Doesn't matter what it is. Please don't think, well, because so and so is doing something, I want to do what so and so is doing. Well, maybe that may not be your path. It doesn't make it that it's bad, that yours is bad. It's just different. You have a different path. And so and just looking at the life, meeting people, you try to facilitate things. Let's say you say, hey, I want to go to school and learn about such and such. And you do everything, everything in your power. And it just keeps getting blocked. You say, what's going on? Well, it could be people, the forces that see you and are blocking it. But it also could be that it's not your path. And the forces are saying, hey, you're getting off the marker. We're not asking you to go over there. So you start to say, hey, so what is your path? Why is this happening? And I realized also in watching today's video, this person, Franchard Pearson, um, about anointing. Have you ever heard of that term, anointing? I realize in life that some people might call it a gift. Some people are gifted at certain things. Some people are gifted singers. Yes, sure, there's some training involved. Yes, some training could enhance, but some people are naturally good singers. And yes, to get a little training, whatever. Yes. You put me, I have no singing ability. That is not my gift, you know. You know, but there's a thing called anointing, and the term they use anointing, when I used to follow religion, they used to use that terminology a lot. The anointing. There was a song called The Anointing. Some people, an anointing is, think of it as a special gift or talent to do something. It could be speaking, it could be dancing, it could be writing, it could be, you're an inventor. I think we're bodies, some people have Toyotas, some people have what do you call it, a Mercedes. You have all different brands of, models of cars, right? Did you know, like when you make a car, it's designed, a true designer designs the car to do a particular task. Some people have like a four-wheel drive. A four-wheel drive is to go up those mountains and stuff like that. It's a power vehicle because you may need that power. It doesn't like the cars might, a Ford, and let's say a four-wheel drive. They're two different. They're cars for its purpose. You may be a four-wheeler, but someone else might be something else. They're all good, but it's according to the purpose. And so you're in life, and you see sometimes you watch people. Let's say you used to go to school. Let's say you're a young child in school, and you see that there's certain people that just what you call anointing on them early in life. Early. You feel it, you see it in them. It's like people, they get the connections, they get the grades maybe. It's just there. I'm sure some of you have seen it. And there's some things, it may not be there until it's awakened. Awakened. Some things are awakened at a later time. It's like dormant. And then, boop, it comes out. And it's like, where did this person come from? They're there. It's there. And when it's on, it's on. But you know what else, people? When it's off, it's off. Yes, it goes both ways. Have you been in life, started out in life, you're a young adult, and you said to yourself, I don't like this. Um, I want to try such and such. Now, it may not have been anything wrong with that such and such thing, but you were assigned to sit at this one location, so to speak. But you got off that line. And you said, I want to try something on my own. I don't want to do this other thing. And so you got off your marker and you tried that other thing and it flopped. It's not that the other thing was bad, but it was a disaster. And if you could have only stayed in your marker, if you would have only stayed, sometimes, like you can get off your marker and then you see it's a flop and you try to go back. It sometimes it doesn't go back smoothly. Like sometimes it's more than just going back. See, when you get out of alignment with something and you're on a projectile, you're on a course of action. When you move out of that alignment, it's a procedure. I mean, to get back, it may take years for you to get back into position. And that's what I realized. I said to myself, "Oh wow, I was a um, I was a teenager. I got off the line with something as a teenager, and I started thinking back. I said to myself, what would life has been if I didn't move off my marker? I mean, I didn't like where I was. I had a horrible, horrible boss. It was a bad environment, I felt. And it's something that I had wanted to do in the first place, this other thing. And I had to listen to my folks because I was a minor. And actually, when I think about, I mean, I didn't like the job at all, but the school was okay. Um, actually, it was a very, very, very good school at that time. People at the time, it was one of the top schools in the public schools. City schools in New York. The college. It was one of the top colleges. That's government owned, not a private. It wasn't a private school. It was a city run college, and it was really interesting. The location. It had like the school was in one location, but my job was in the complete opposite. There were two different worlds, two opposites. One was opulence, and one was filth, nasty. And I wanted, um, I just wanted to get away. And so I did this. I forced my issue. I forced the cards once I got enough spunk. And again, I wasn't a minor, you know, because when I went to school, I was 17 years old. I was still a minor. And I didn't have any experience with things. I didn't have a job before. I didn't go, go in the city, I didn't used to train. So it was a big step. It was to teach me different things. But I had moved out of my marker after 2 years. And interested, that number kept on repeating itself. The number two. Do you people have, and look right now, I have two viewers and two thumbs up. The number two, um, those of you who know the number two, I wonder what the number two is. I know it takes two to tango, but the number two was popping up over my life when I was younger. Number two, I couldn't avoid it. I could not avoid it. But what happened? Yeah. So when you move off target, sometimes you can just slip back on the line, like you walk off the line just for a second, and something like that. Sometimes you just walk back on the line and keep on going. But sometimes it may take a lifetime to get back into the position, and that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm understanding right now when I was watching that person's video. He's a grown man, and he was doing what he was doing, but it wasn't his time. But so it's not, so some things, it's not that they don't want you to do certain things, but it's not the right time to do that particular thing. You see what I'm saying? That like someone like like getting married, nothing wrong getting married, but you're only 5 years old. Hey, you wait until 20 years later. Hey, that'd be fine. You better be at your prime. You have education. You have something to fortify you, and then you expand and grow, and it's perfect. But it's timing. Is it your time? So what happens when you move out of the alignment, and then you try to go back on the line? Or what if you say, well, that failed, let's try something else. And you go through life, keep on trying different things. And you know what happens? The same result. The same result. Why? It may not be anything wrong with what you're doing. It might be an honorable job or service that you're doing, but it's not meant for you to do it. Hello? It may not be for you to do it. But then there's a point in your life you're at a standstill. And then you start reviewing your life. Wow, what is going on? You start to see the gematria of your life, the numbers that repeat in your life. Yeah, this is like a system. This is a closed system that we live in. This is a closed system. And, everything, numbers is, computers. It's all a series of ones and zeros. They're patterns that happen in your life, and we're part of it. We're part of these numbers that repeat because we're part of a system, a closed system. But what a powerful system it is when we're in alignment to our life's path. And we go through life thinking that, we're going to try to force something and do these things. But you can't get anywhere without the anointing. Do you have an anointing on you? Well, this person that I'm watching, on YouTube for the past maybe 10 months, that it's like something has lit in him. And it's like all of a sudden, it's like he's growing and growing. You know what else I noticed? That some things, no matter what you do, will not grow without that anointing. Even let's say even growing. Remember earlier in my videos, a couple of years ago, 2017, I was I was trying to grow all these things in my apartment. I was getting these visions. I do this meditation in the morning. And in my meditation, I saw these plants. So I thought, hey, maybe life is, trying to teach me, show me something. And hey, let me start growing plants. I just have a fascination with nature in general. I like plants. I like nature. So I wanted to bring in some nature in my apartment. Well, some things aren't meant to be. Like I try to grow a watermelon in my apartment. I said, wow, that'd be really neat if I could grow a watermelon. And so I thought, well, maybe if I get a bigger light source. Honey, it didn't work. This is a good point. This is a very good point. See, there's nothing wrong with watermelons. And you have people out there in life who have a farm and have the gift of growing things like watermelon. Well, because they have the space, they have the natural sun, they have the environment for it. And so the cost of someone who's living in a farm with a lot of sunlight and all that, there's nothing wrong with them doing that. But for me to try to grow a watermelon in an apartment in New York City, it is wasting my time. It's kind of funny actually. But I had all the hope to do this. I just thought, okay, I get this. Like, you can buy these plant lights, these portable plant lights in your home. And so that's what I did. And there is one other YouTuber, but they had this, looked like aluminum foil, like a little house, like a little, like a tent made out of it, looked like aluminum foil, to just try to grow this watermelon in his apartment. But he had a smaller breed of watermelon just to attempt to grow one in its place. Honey, mine came to nothing. The biggest it got was maybe 4 inches tall, and that was it. Well, I did not have the anointing to do it. Anointing, think also anointing as power. I didn't have the energy to do it. See, to grow a watermelon, you need an incredible amount of sun, natural sun, to grow a watermelon plant to fruition. It needs tremendous water and sun. I didn't have that. I had some, but some is not enough. See that, think of that as anointing. Everybody has some ability, some energy to do something, but you didn't have enough. You don't have enough. You don't have enough energy. So you can think of an anointing as energy to do. But the energy doesn't, you know what I learned also? The energy does not come from you, it flows through you. Energy doesn't come from you, it flows through you. It flows through your vessel. Think of your vessel as a car. And if you don't have gasoline in that car, whatever what fuel it uses, that car is not going anywhere. And sometimes some of us run on empty. And when that happens, you just go for a short while and you stop. Do you have the anointing? Do you have that energy flowing through you? Now, this YouTuber that I've been talking about a little bit, um, the he was in dormancy, but now it's being released. And he often talks about, like, you know, God's will, God, working through a vessel, working as a vessel for his God. But then I started thinking, oops, but the plug just came out. I'm not going to go, I'm not going to pick it up. Yeah, my plug just came out of the socket. Oh, well, when it prompts up that it needs to be recharged, I'll just have to get out of bed then. But anyway, this is important. Now, this person has an anointing on him right now. He has the ability, but it was turned off for a season, but he was in preparation. And now it's the time for the thing to be revealed. But I see that what's happening, the anointing is now running through you. But I realize these anointings, it's not from the person, but through them, works through them. So we may think, so how does this occur? Well, I think in hindsight, see, they're people. There are forces out there, and they seem to work among people. I don't know how it works, but like, for example, let me give an example. Another example of somebody, an anointing. There was this famous performer. He said he went by the name of Liberace. He was a pianist. And a story was shared about Liberace. Yeah, he passed away some years ago. He was very flamboyant. And yes, he was allegedly what I call an alphabet soup consumer. But it was something he shared. He um uh, he had an admirer. He had an admirer. And he said, "Oh, I wish I could do what you do." And you know what happened, people? This is interesting. This is interesting. Well, this Liberace was a very talented man. And he placed this Liberace put his hands upon that man, that other person. I forget what part, whether it was his head or something, but there was a physical contact. He touched him. this man, other guy, and he was given the gift. Yeah, yeah. You have people who do have that ability to place hands on people, because again, it's just about energy. So I think what happened in that, with when Liberace did that, he, when you place hand, he like reprogrammed the guy. He reprogrammed the other fellow, his brain, his neural system, like removing the blockages or whatever, just like programming. Says, okay, you're gonna do it. Some of us are programmed. Some of us are being programmed. It was something I saw a movie that talked about it. Yeah, I was watching. Oh, yeah, it just come to my memory now. I was watching a program just a couple of days ago. It was a movie called oh, what's that name? The the Hitman. Yeah, I think Hitman 47 or the Hitman. And yeah, I remember it now. Okay. There was this yeah, the movie The Hitman is about the, it's really a program within a program. Um, they're people when they're youngsters. Um, Many of them come from like foster homes or abandoned, and the government takes these kids and they do horrific things to them. Let me just say that horrific things are done to them to program them. They get reprogrammed, and they get programmed in this case to be a professional, people who remove other people. Okay, I have to be very careful of some of the words I use because it could flag my videos. Do you understand what I'm getting at? What word I'm saying? A hitman. And in that movie, it's the one that was made, I think, in 2016. The first one was made in what's that, 20, I think '07 or '04. Yeah, it was made early. And then the second one was made many years later, I think in 2016. And it was that second one, it dealt with a young lady, and she was abandoned as a child. But, but through life, she had to survive. And, but she had a lot of questions. She didn't know what was happening to her. Um, I mean, it's an interesting movie. It does have a lot of physical violence in it. But I watched the movie too because I was curious about, again, the program about these, what they call MK Ultra, things like that, when they do reprogram people through horrendous means because they want them to do certain things. It sounds like a fake thing, but it's actually something that is being done. Yeah, it started, I think, right after World War II. They started experimenting with people and doing these horrible things. And to have them program people to do their will. So you could think that that means as a false anointing. See, the anointing also is about programming. When the energy of something else, think of energy as a program, a set of instructions, and sometimes we could be resistant. And things like the MK Ultra program is a forced system of programming the mind to do things. But like in the so-called spiritual aspect, um, the anointing slash program is something that you are more of a
willing participant, or you're in the and you're in the flow of it, and so there was no resistance. It's something that you're walking in that path, and then the anointing activated in you, but you were in alignment for that gift. Okay, I think some people are are being marked. Yeah, and in that same movie, The Hitman, they talk about the mark. God, you gotta watch this movie too. Watch the movie Hitman, the Hitman, the second one. Yeah, watch that also. Not I'm um watch it not because of the violence in it. I'm not into violence, but the mess of what are they doing? What are they programming? What are they trying to, you know, read in between the line, and how it might be applied in life in general. I mean, it's an extreme case, but in the movie again, The Hitman. Yeah, yeah. Let me get back with that. Now in that movie, The Hitman, the protagonist is of a young woman, like in her 20s or something, 20s, 30s, and yes, she actually was programmed by her father. He initially was in a program. He was a scientist, a geneticist, and your genes are a set of instructions. That's what the genes are. The genes are Your genes are programs, and they start things and they stop things. In your path. Like one day your hair is brown, and then another minute your hair turns gray. These are all switches, on and off switches, programs that have things occur or not occur within your body. But yet, so the father was a geneticist, and he was learning about changing, how to improve people to, the government wanted him to do tests and to have people programmable to be super soldiers. And he was successful, but he realized the evil of it and that he shouldn't have done it. So he left, and the government thought that he was going to come after them. So they closed down the program. But then somebody else years later restarted the program. But they didn't have the knowledge that that scientist had. So they wanted to try to relocate the scientist who was in hiding. And then they got a clue. They heard that he had a daughter. And that, I guess that they thought by finding the daughter, they'd be able to get to the scientist, the father. So, yes, they did find her. But during this time, this girl was also in preparation. She didn't understand her behavior. She had latent abilities that were untapped, but she thought her ability, like some of it was trying to leak through her abilities. She had supernatural ability, what we would consider supernatural. She had ESP. She had the ability to speak different languages, yet she didn't learn, how did she learn it? And it turned out in the movie, you had what's called that hitman. And he he also was part of the program, and he worked for the government, and yet he was still a hitman. But I think he was almost like a double agent, and he wanted to find this person, this woman. He was being paid to find the woman, and I think they wanted him to remove her permanently. But he also had other plans. And he did meet her, But in he does kidnap the lady, but actually he's trying to help her. He's not trying to remove her, but he actually wanted to awaken her, to inform her what she was all about. You know, that she didn't know who she was. She thought she was weird, and she didn't understand herself. So actually, some meetings are designed to awaken you to discover who you really are. So what he did was he kidnaps her, and then he had tied her to a chair with this engine, this turbo engine behind her, and he turns this thing on, and so she's going to be sucked in it. So then this stress, like an MK Ultra, they put you under mental stress or physical fear, and it triggers them to use their special abilities. And so she was able to escape this device. And then when she gets out of this predicament, then he enters back into the room. And she's yelling at him, hey, why do you do that to me? And he's telling her, he had to do that to her to wake her up, so to speak. Then he was able to say, you don't know who you are. You're related, you've been through this program, and you have all these abilities that you don't even know about. And I'm trying to, I just shared with you, what you're all about, the skills you actually do have inside of you. And also in the movie, like he had shot at her when she was in a car with another person who pretended to be trying to save her, this woman. He actually was the enemy. He was using her to get to somebody else. See, he had ulterior motives against her, actually. So, in that car chase, the hitman uses this weapon and shot at her, and it skinned her arm, her forearm. So when she had finally got kidnapped by this hitman and went through that event about the being tied up in a chair, and this engine's going to suck you in to kill you, and then you freed yourself. She says, well, why did you try to shoot? Well, why did you try to kill me if you want me to know who I am? He said, get this, people, get that, this is important. He says, I wasn't trying to shoot at you, I was trying to mock you. He said, I mocked you. I didn't shoot at you, I mocked you. Wow, I thought that was a powerful thing. Some of us are being mocked. When you mock someone, you're identifying who they are. Wow. When you mock someone, people, when you mock someone, you are giving them a label. You are identifying who they are. So you be able to also be able to recognize them at a distance when people get mocked. He was mocking her. And it turned out, I think they were actually brother and sister. They were both in the same program. But he got caught. They were like little children. They're like 5 or 6 years old. And the boy, the boy got captured, but the girl um, escaped with the parents. But then the parents got caught. The mother got shot. The father was on the run. But he knew eventually that they would get him, or try to get at her. So he hid her, he abandoned her. But see, he programmed her. The father actually programmed her genetics to be a survivor. So, yeah, she was able to survive from a little girl and to adulthood. But years later, see, she didn't know who she was. Have any of you ever walked through life and you didn't know who you were? You had certain abilities that would, on occasion, rise to the top, would manifest. And then maybe some of you, like the girl in the movie, tried to suppress her abilities. And so she had prescription drugs to try to, I guess, I don't know what maybe it was to calm her down or something. But it was to deal with these things that would occur, that would manifest in her life, certain abilities. And I guess she was afraid of her abilities. Has that ever happened to any of you? You go through life and then let's say you have what you call an ESP, and you don't understand what ESP is, and so you think you're mental, and then you go to a doctor. Doctor, I'm seeing things. You're not seeing. You have abilities. Some of us have abilities. And because we are ignorant on our abilities, you think it's something wrong with you. And so you go to a so called doctor, and the doctor is actually squashing your abilities. Well, that happened to that lady in that movie. And the brother, would turn out to be his brother, her brother, he was mocking her, and that he wanted for her to discover who she is by forcing her to see who she really was. And that was when she was in that chair and it was being revealed. It was amazing. It was amazing. The movie, the what it was teaching about self discovery. This life, people, is about self discovery. Discovering things we may not want to see about ourselves. Some of us, we know early on in life what our path is. Some of us try to escape our path by choosing other things, and then seeing that we're not giving an anointing to things. Anointing is like an ability. It is like a program. It is currency in our lives. And when you're out of that anointing, you're really you are wasting your time and energy. So in saying all this, seeing that YouTuber this morning, early this morning, um, and how he might have started out and things, and later on he's on the path, and the anointing is now flowing through him. The anointings could be imparted to people, but some of the anointing is from good people or good spirits, and some anointing are from bad people and bad spirits. So you got to ask yourself, what spirit do you want to be led by? What am I getting at? Yeah, the anointing's all right. With Liberace, he anointed that guy. Yeah, yes, he did. or those musicians that you see out there, those the ones that you see now on social media. I mean, you're hearing them. Oh, so and so sold their soul to you know who, not the good forces. Yeah, because the anointing can, anointing doesn't mean good or bad. Anointing is a currency, it is an energy, and it is a program that they can impart upon you. Yeah, some people have an anointing, all right. And a lot of those musicians you hear about now, yeah, they got an anointing around. Don't you see, like they just come out of nowhere? Some of these people, I'm not going to mention names, really had no real ability. And some of them went through a lot of harassment. And then so that they might have made a deal. Yes, you have people who make deals. And that person or being puts an energy, a frequency, a marker on that person. And yeah, they go around for a season. Yeah, it seems like with the music industry, it's like I don't understand why they do what they do. I mean, like it's for a season, and then all of a sudden, chaos arrives. So I don't understand why you're going to make a deal with something or someone, and they give you the ability, the fame, and all that, the money, and then they pull it. Start noticing that. Yeah, it's a horrible, it's a horrible thing. Yeah. So wow, it's really something about life. Yeah, they're different game. This is a war that we're under. This is a game of chess that's being played on many levels, and it's really happening right now. I mean, I, I I've lived the life that I've lived, but I've never saw it this chaotic like now. See, now we have social media, so now information comes out that much quicker. We didn't have these computers 20 something years ago, not like this. I would say the past 15 years, or maybe 10 years especially, that this social media has really been weaponized. It's been weaponized. And you have different forces out there that are uh, programming people, showing and showcasing people out there to reprogram the masses out there. That's what's happening. Yeah, we have this social media, and because we're very visual, they put up these clowns out there, and they are programming you, and they are seducing you to do and act like them. But in the end, it's chaos. It's chaos, people. It's chaos. It's a game. Don't get in their games. Don't get in their games. Yeah, we're programmed, all right. And yes, sometimes we can leave the line and slide back in, but sometimes it'll take a lifetime to get back online, back on track. Yeah, we will have our own destinies. What mine is, I don't know. But I think many of us have destinies that in time may be revealed. It may be revealed like with the hitman by chance to force you to awaken, or something could be gradual and you come to a fruition of understanding. But either way, we have a point A and a point Z. And embrace what life has for you. Appreciate knowledge and truth. And ask your Creator to reveal it to you in a way that doesn't destroy you. Yeah. So that's what I have to share for today. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry, the power just sorry, the power just went the button just popped up that low energy on this device. Yeah. Yeah. So I hope you understand the things that I shared. Yeah. In essence, we may be things that we don't really fully understand. And we may be watchers or what you call sentinels. And in time, things are revealed, but it may not be revealed in a way that you want it to. You may not like how it's revealed, but that eventually it'll be revealed to you. If you are a true person who's seeking truth, keep on seeking and ask for mercy, and that the revelation of your life will be revealed. Okay? Thank you so much for listening to this video. And yes, look into those movies. The Sentinel. Yeah, and again, it does have something a part in there that's not very nice that I don't know about. But but as a principle of to describe what's that some people's journeys they may not know until the end. It's really interesting. So that's the Sentinel, and the other movie is the Hitman, and how people could be revealed may not understand their life, and then in the end, it's revealed again what they're made out of to help you understand who they are and appreciate the power that you have. It's not to be afraid of your abilities because it was gifted to you. Okay? So thank you again. Peace, love, and joy to you all. And let me know your comments on all this. And those of you who didn't see the beginning of the live stream, you can always put it on, to the beginning and get the context. What I shared about this movie. I mean, this live stream. Thank you again. Yes, enjoy your day, and yes, write your comments below or your questions below. Take care, guys. Bye bye.